I came from Iran years back. It's been around 10 years, and it was not easy, and it's not for many other people across the nation who migrate from their countries and move to Australia. I had experience in BIM and construction for sure, like many other people with years of experience. But when I moved to Australia, I found the differentiate between the context, standards, frameworks, how they collaborate, how they do the teamwork, how they model the delivery of a project. Not, I mean, the 3D model, I mean the type of delivery. So translating all the standards and frameworks was a huge difference between where I live and where I moved. And I changed the scenario from I already know that to okay, I'm here to learn this again. And it made me more, passion and keep me curious about learning and reframe things, relearn standards. So where I am now, all the adjustment happened.
Hi, Ati. Welcome to the Digital Construction Podcast.
Thanks, Andre. Thanks for having me.
Today we speak with Ati Hezarian, one of Australia's most dynamic digital delivery leaders. We will learn more about her international journey, leadership in Women in BIM, her multidisciplinary industry experience, and her passion for innovation, automation, and the future of digital construction in general. But before we start, Ati, I have a question for you. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received in your career?
That's a good one to start. There are a lot actually, but one of the best and the one it still stayed with me is never stop learning. Be curious and never stop learning. And I remember at early my career, someone told me, don't stick to a tool or title or a software or technology. They keep changing constantly. And if you want to build your career around the industry, especially in Australia, you need to be relevant to all of those topics so that can avoid you to fall and you stay relevant to the industry. And that made my journey more meaningful. So I'm still learning.
That's
Never
that's
stop.
yeah. No, stop learning. That's very valid. And Ati, when we organized this episode, we planned it before the change in geopolitical situation in Iran, and you come from Iran, and you're migrating from Iran to Australia. You've been navigating cultural differences across the different countries and the construction standards. You have been rebuilding a professional network in a new country, which is hard, I know, because I did the same from coming from Italy. You've been also adapting to digital engineering expectations that may be different, but how did you transition from Iran to Australia? How did this transition from Iran to Australia shape your professional identity?
That's a very nice question, Andre, and thanks for mentioning that. Yes, I migrant. I came from Iran years back. It's been around 10 years, and it was not easy, and it's not for many other people across the nation who migrate from their countries and move to Australia. I had experience in BIM and construction for sure, like many other people with years of experience. But when I moved to Australia, I found the differentiate between the context, standards, frameworks, how they collaborate, how they do the teamwork, how they model the delivery of a project. Not, I mean, the 3D model, I mean the type of delivery. So translating all the standards and frameworks was a huge difference between where I live and where I moved. And I changed the scenario from I already know that to okay, I'm here to learn this again. And it made me more, passion and keep me curious about learning and reframe things, relearn standards. So where I am now, all the adjustment happen.
And I think, yeah, lots of different things happen, but what are the, if any, what are the biggest surprises that you find in the standard, in the culture, on the workflow? What's actually surprised you that was different?
Um, Actually, there are a lot, but one of the biggest can be the teamwork here, the team work culture in Australia, and how they are open to challenge themselves with innovation and driving new technologies with AI and any other new technologies here. They are the biggest surprise, and I guess for many, many other people, we keep getting surprised with all those new technologies, but the approach and how they deal with those challenges, how they are open, is the thing that surprised me. I moved because that was different with the culture I live there. So that's a good thing, actually. That's a positive approach, and I
Yeah,
love it.
definitely. Definitely, no, I agree. I definitely experienced the same in Australia coming from Italy. And still, when I speak with my friends and colleagues in Italy, they still think that Australia is miles ahead of Europe, which is nice to see. And
Wonderful.
sometimes, yeah, when you move from another country, there are also challenges that you need to overcome. And what do you think, what are the challenges that you think were the hardest to overcome, and how did you approach them?
One of the ones was rebuilding a network from scratch. And when we move and we travel from Iran to Australia, specifically for me, I lost my network. So that's hard. When you move, you not automatically carry on the network and connections with you. All the history, all the colleagues, all the reputation you made in your land, they will not automatically come with you and move with you. So I found that as an issue and challenge, and I had to rebuild the connection. I started to be actively connecting on LinkedIn and with a community. Plus, women in being a community, which plays a key role in the industry to help. And I kept attending the venues, the events, the networking, and started with communication across the industry. And that helped me to overcome that challenge.
And when you think about your younger self, think about that person that came to Australia many years ago, what advice would you give to somebody like you or young professionals starting their career in a new country?
Oh, that's a nice one. And I got a few. One of those can be um, don't wait for the time to start things. You just start. And that time never comes to facilitate and provide you with everything you want to start. And that's hard. That's challenging when you move. You face with the new context of the culture. Um, keep keep open your arms with accepting the new culture and adjustment, and understand translating the context of what you've done before and now you're facing. And again, one of the most maybe useful advice would be, again, start from where point you stand, and don't wait for the time to come.
Yeah, that's very, very good one. Very good one. Sometimes analysis paralysis, or people just don't get started thinking,
Exactly.
just
Yeah.
waiting for the optimum time to start something, and then time just flies.
And, yeah,
And you
never
realize,
comes that time
yeah,
to the
yeah,
perfect time. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it will
that's
never
right.
be the right time to do something. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah,
And
that's right.
you also, as a digital leader, you also have a big role in Women in BIM. You've been helping that community, trying to create new inclusive environment for digital roles and providing mentorship as well for career developments for women. But just to start from the beginning, what challenges do women in the digital construction still face today?
I've seen many progress in this area. Um, from my eyes, from the day I started as a woman to be part of this industry in construction and digital architecture, the built environment, let's call it, I've seen many progress in this area, but there are still a lot to go. And from what I see, the visibility of having more women in leadership roles is one of those challenges and issues within that community we have in Australia. Again, we had many improvement in this area and there's space to support women in the industry, in the construction. But the fact is, the construction industry, we believe, is a combination of the technology and construction. And historically, they have less visibility of having a woman present in those two industries. So we need to support young generation and women to show up and be present in the leadership roles. And that can be maybe even more advantage strategically for the business, not just advocating the diversity in the industry. That's what I'm observing and witnessing as a woman in digital construction industry.
Yeah, definitely. And you are the New South Wales regional lead for women in BIM, and definitely you are trying to make an impact in this space. And you mentioned companies and like different firms that can support women. But from your point of view, how can companies better support women when they try to step into these digital roles? How can they make that happen?
It's not easy, and we're not expecting to happen, suddenly, in day one. That takes time, and it's like a marathon. But the good thing is, as I mentioned, there are rooms, and they are open industry and the firms. We have many of those in the Australian market. They're open to make the balance for women and men in the leadership roles. So mentorship, supporting them and help them to make more comfortable when they show up and make them visible and present in the leadership roles, and train them, educate them. They all could be the metrics that can help the woman to be more present in those part of the industry. That's strategic from what I'm seeing, and not just again make the balance in diversity.
Yeah, definitely. And I know you're also very passionate about building and supporting community, providing mentorship.
Yeah.
And coming from Iran, you have founded the IBASA Network, which is IBASA Network. Can
Yeah.
you tell us a little bit more about what it is and why did you decide to establish it and what gaps did you see in the community?
That's coming really from my personal experience, Andre. When I moved, I found, as an immigrant, as someone who moved from a different land to this beautiful greeny land, Australia, I found myself as a second language person who was technical and had experience, not confident and not understanding all the frameworks and standards. And that was lacked to find a guide or right network or connections to, find my roadmap and level up. When I found myself, I could, map that pathway and road for myself and many other people around myself. I realized that's a good opportunity to run a community and help people to find themselves and upskill, help them to translate the context and um, help each other with the mentorship and all those things, and introducing the women in BIM community as well. And when I'm attending and I'm having many girls and ladies around myself and see they living thinking, oh, I can, do better in this industry in the future. So I, talk to myself, okay, I made that and that happened. That's meaningful and the mission is complete.
Yeah, that's very good. And it's so important to support the community. This podcast also try to do something similar. So
Of course.
we just try to share knowledge and make sure that everybody can access this information and
Amazing.
give people an opportunity to speak with digital leaders like you and also people like you that have a different experience even from other countries and can see the problems from different point of view, even the position of the women in this industry. But not only that, you've also been working across architecture, consulting, engineering, contracting. You've seen it all basically. But what are the biggest differences in how each one of these sees the digital delivery?
That's a nice one and a hot topic, actually. Andre. Academically, I'm coming from both engineering and architectural background, and that helped me to sit in the intersection of engineering, architecture, and construction to understand the holistic and the big picture of all the project delivery here. The global experience, actually international experience, plus the Australian experience, and looking after all those projects from architecture to consultant experience and construction expertise helped me to understand and realize how we can connect things together, how we can translate and confluence the information from the architecture and the earliest stage up to engineering and consultancy and the procurement and get to the construction stage and operations. So connecting them and merging them together and not, keep them in the silos and isolated, maybe that can make all the transformation appear in the industry soon. That's my approach and understanding of connecting all those disciplines together, and that's my pleasure, and I'm so grateful to be in the intersection of that as a built environment. Sami, understand all of them to have a holistic imaginary.
And you really had multiple careers, multiple paths. And do you think that having worked in these different paths and careers have shaped your leadership in a different way? Your style may have changed if, for example, compared if you just stayed in one place only. Do you think that would have changed something in you?
Yeah, of course. And as I mentioned at front, the advice I got from someone in my early career who was not just staying on one line, and that's very in line with my personality as well, to have the information and awareness of the technical and strategic thinking, having an understanding of the construction, architecture, and consultancy firms, and that's a need of a successful leader in digital environment, from my understanding, to have a hand on all of those disciplines, not just architecture or engineering side or construction. I know, having the experience in an architectural practice or a studio can help with, um, the hands-on and execution on the Revit management or all the other design and visualization. Again, moving to consultancy and engineering helps with coordination, collaboration, procurement, and move to the construction to understand and work closely with the operation phase and looking after the project and life cycle as a whole picture of view. I love that too. I love the journey to go through all those disciplines and not limited to just one. That helped me as a puzzle, pieces of puzzle to collect them all together and make a digital view for myself.
That's great. And another aspect of your career is your role at University of Sydney, because you also been working there and teaching students concept like building execution plans or ISO 19650. When you think about this experience and your relationship with the students, what do you think students struggle with the most when it comes down to these topics in the digital construction?
I experienced that already last year when I've been invited as a flow industry at the UTS to help tutoring the digital construction and ISO. And I found the students, they've been very disconnected from the real world project environment, and they had no idea of the case studies and how they can manage the information. The key lesson for students at university is the understanding of a project is not limited to just modeling itself or documenting itself. That's managing the information, that's understanding the scope of the job and work, and ensure that modeling, the documentation, the information, they are all integrated together and they're not limited to just a model-centric delivery. I found as students maybe they need more industry help, having more industry flow to go and help them to understand a real Ford project delivery environment and share the exposed project information with them to help them understanding what's happening in the real life when they graduate, not just limited to the subjects they learning at a school. This is not enough, and we all live that life. In the past, we learned things, and when we moved to the work environment, we found ourselves, oh, there are a lot to learn now. What was that and what is this? So the best approach and practice is make an ongoing dialogue between industry and academia to help the students and share the case studies from the real world projects with them.
And do you think that these students, when they are still at university, have a view of what the real world will look like when they finish that's probably not necessarily aligned with the reality? Or what are any other misconceptions that this early career professional have about standards or processes?
I guess from what I understood, I guess the misconfusion and misconception of having frameworks and standards at front make them scared. I mean, those people, they not they not experience the live project or real world project delivery environment. And when you introduce them, hey, this is the ISO 9650 and you need to be compliant with that, they getting scared and they going to be panic. This is the misconception. They need to understand this is a fundamental and this is a basic you know information for them to understand rather than to go through building a project without those information to be populated and established from scratch. So the essence of understanding the frameworks and those requirements, standards is the one they've been confused and panic, but the reality is this is the opposite way. When they understand those frameworks, that makes their life easier for sure in the future.
And slightly changing gear, I know that you sometimes describe yourself as an automation accelerator. You're passionate about emerging technology, automation, all of these new emerging trends and technology. But what does automation accelerator means from your point of view in practice?
Did I mention I'm the
I found
automation
it. I found it
accelerator?
somewhere. I found it somewhere.
Where you found that?
I've been
You're
researching for
smart.
this episode.
Oh, good on you. Good on you. You know what I meant? I meant, I can define and, identify the repetitive works, and if there are things to do the automation rather than going through the manual process with the risk of human error. So why would not go through the automation? So I have that talent actually, to be honest, but I didn't, you know, um, show off. But I'm the one who can understand where we need the automation here, and which tool or a script can help us to make the quality or delivery fast track and with a better at a better and efficient way, um, from what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, and over the journey, uh, avoiding the repetitive work can help everyone to make their life easier, and grabbing the coffee and save the time and cost of the project for sure with automation. And I'm still, accelerating that to help the people contributing with all those conversations as well, to ensure that's happening across the industry.
Yeah, it's an interesting title, and I wonder probably somebody else may steal this name and this title and use it in their own personal career when they have a performance review with their manager, saying I'm an automation accelerator because of the role that they do. So it
Yeah,
could be
I
something they
see.
could steal. So now you just give them an explanation so they can share it with their managers.
That's
Um,
nice. I'm glad.
Very good, thanks. And
Pleasure.
and another aspect, it's not necessarily an emerging technology, but it's something that is still probably not fully consolidated, is the role of the digital twins. From your point of view, I know that you are also a digital twin advocate, and from your point of view, where do digital twins currently deliver the most value, and where on the other side is just hype?
That's a tricky one, Andre. And again, comes from all the realities across the digital transformation happening in the industry. Um, the gap between design and construction stages, the gap between the information being created and populated at schematic design up to develop onto up to construction and operation, and reformatting them to ensure that digital twin is shape is the double up of the efforts of we do. But digital twin itself is just not a modeling and dashboard to reflect a digital 3D model of a project and a building or whatever we deliver. It's how we structure and manage those information, and merge and evolve the model centric shape of the delivery to a digital asset, and having all the data enriched with those models, and change the reality of the model to a digital twin. Um, we got a lot to go in that marathon again in Australia, to be honest. A bit behind in that to driving and embed that into all the frameworks as a mandatory, but it will be in the future of the digital construction. It will be mandatory and essential. But currently, what we experiencing and observing, it's a try and effort to help emerging the model driven and centric to a data driven and asset um, digital to shape a format and help all the project deliverables from the earliest stage to the operation phase, having that ecosystem enriched and mature by the data.
And we can't record an episode of this podcast at the beginning of 2026 without mentioning artificial intelligence. It's a tax.
That's right.
It's a tax we need to pay to the gods of
100%.
artificial
Yeah,
intelligence. Yeah. How do you see artificial intelligence, AI, reshaping routine tasks in this industry, or in general? How can AI help us?
As you promoted me as automation accelerator,
Accelerator.
I'll come up with something to promote AI for sure, which is not optional anymore. Fortunate or unfortunate, this is part of our life, and everyone from a kid, 5 years old kid, to an old man or all professionals in the industry, they have um, to use it. So AI will be like, from what I see in the future, in the next phase of the digital construction and how we reshape that with AI. I don't see there is a shortcut. I don't see there is a um, you know any other way around to go through something with all the coordination, clash detection, and data management without AI. How AI can help us with predicting how we can reduce the risk and mitigate the risk over the delivery, enforce the project and industry and all the professionals to adopt that. So this is nothing, to just ignore or say, oh, okay, no, that's a rework or needs human engagement on the top of that. Of course, it needs, but over all the fast-paced technology, and as we move forward with the technology improvement, AI will be essential and part of like a standard, default in the industry to run, having AI tool for coordination, having AI tool for clash detection, and there is no other way around.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree it's not optional anymore. If you can think about it from from another point of view, think about if everybody else is adopting and you are not, then you will really be too slow for the industry, which will feel like the people that when Beam emerged or computers emerged, they were against it and they didn't want to adopt it. And I think the risk that these people have now with AI is that if they don't adjust quickly, they will be too slow in the future comparison with their peers.
Exactly. No, I remember that time back then, when we, waited hours to be connected to internet with a dial-up connection. We couldn't imagine we live in an AI era, and now we live in that era, and this is not optional anymore. How quick was this transformation, and there are pros and cons, but yeah, challenge is accepted.
Definitely. And you are across many technologies, but when you think about all of these technologies, which one excites you the most and right now, and why?
Which one? All of them. All of them excite me. And from a digital SME, I look at from the big picture. For me, digital construction and transformation is like a puzzle again, and I, try to find the right piece to put that in the right place. For me, integration of all those tools and software we already have and in develop is what excites me. I shared that last week in this Digital Build Summit as well. We might don't need extra tools for digital delivery. We just need to ensure how we can integrate them, how they can talk to each other, on the same language, and instead of working against the other applications and software, try to find those ways to integrate and enhance the interoperability between the tools. Um, every single tool can help with automation, coordination, and collaboration. Can make me excited. But again, as a one word, integration always excites me, not a tool
Yeah,
only itself.
definitely. And when you think about the future, it's always hard to predict the future. But if you think about the next 10 years, what major shift do you predict in the digital construction industry over the next, let's say 10 years also?
Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
But yeah, there are a lot happening at this stage, and we expect more, even more. But what we expect is how we can establish the transformation and place it in our delivery uh, at the best practice. In the next 5 or 10 years, let's say, that's a good timing to work on how we can connect tools together, how we can connect people, how we can um, educate them. So for me, focusing on connecting people and tools, integrate them, and connecting the stages of the projects um, instead of reformatting and reshaping the project stage to the one life cycle as an asset for a project, and de-risking all those reworking down the road. They all can be, part of a logo, like a Lego, sorry, a Lego to help with the transformation. When design, construction, operation, people and tools can connect and structured in one ecosystem, the transformation can happen and appear for sure soon.
No, definitely. I like that you touch on the skills because it's also important to think about the digital transformation from the tools point of view, but also the skills that will become essential. Is there anything
100%.
else you can think that the next generation of leaders will need in terms of skills for the future?
Oh, I love that question. I always, exploring things around that. And from my eyes, a good and successful leader needs to have a combination of a technical awareness and strategic thinking. Um, be a good people manager and a hands-on on execution and implementation. A future of leadership and where we go and merge the digital roles in the future is all about the leadership skills and how we can manage that, how we can do the change management across the industry and ensure good leaders are looking after our industry.
Yeah, definitely. And we're close to the end. I just have one more question. If you think about the different parts of the industry, it's quite broad. What part of the industry is the most in need of reinvention or changes?
Um, from the misconnection and disconnection, or maybe if I can and if I could reinvent something or a process in the industry is again having one information ecosystem to drive the project from the earliest stage to operation and as well and stay there forever. If I could reinvent something again or redesign, that could be the one to establish and initiate a platform and ecosystem and ensure everyone is on the same page in that ecosystem, a structured information, and not just stretching hand and grabbing the other framework and guideline, all on the same ecosystem and structured information.
Yeah, thanks, Adi. We are at the end of the episode. If people want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Always welcome. The easy place to reach me is LinkedIn. I'm quite active there, as you know. So more than happy to be connected. And if anyone needs any guidance or connect, just drop me a line on LinkedIn and I'll be there.
Ati, thanks for the great episode and thanks for joining us on the Digital Construction Podcast today.
Pleasure. Thanks, Andre, for having me. Thank you.